Welcome to the AI Brief from the YPO Technology Network. I'm Stephen Forte. Something rare happened in the numbers this week, and it settles an argument you have probably been having in your own boardroom. Here is what I will give you in the next 8 minutes. The hard figures the biggest banks just disclosed about what AI is actually doing to their business. The one sentence Jamie Dimon said that reframes the entire thing and what it means for whether you should be spending more on AI or bracing for a crash, because this week made the case for both. Here is the lens for today. For 2 years, AI has been argued in the abstract, decks, pilots, predictions. This week, the most sophisticated and most heavily regulated companies on earth, the big banks, reported second quarter earnings and finally put audited numbers on it. And the verdict is uncomfortable for the hype crowd and the doom crowd at the same time. AI at scale is unmistakably real, and it is becoming table stakes, not a moat, the ante to stay in the game, not the hand that wins the pot. Start with the proof that it is real, because the numbers are bigger than the pilots suggested. JPMorgan's Jamie Dimon told investors the bank now runs roughly 1,000 AI use cases. And his words, there are discrete areas where we did reduce jobs by 30 or 40%. Not a forecast. Done this year in specific units. Most of those people were moved to other roles, but the headcount in those functions is down by a third or more. Citigroup's Jane Fraser said nearly 9 out of 10 of her people now use the bank's AI tools. And the bank is mapping more than 100 processes for automation. And Bank of America's assistant, Erica, the chatbot inside its app, handled 200 million customer interactions in a single quarter across 20 million users. Sit with those numbers because they end a debate. This is not the 95% of pilots fail story from a few weeks ago. This is production at the scale of the most compliance-bound institutions in the economy. When JPMorgan cuts a back office function by 40%, and Citi gets 90% of its people under the tools, the is AI real for serious companies question is closed. It is real. Now, the sentence that reframes all of it, and it came from Dimon himself. He told investors not to expect AI to suddenly widen JPMorgan's profit margins because he said the gains accrue to the customer, not to JPMorgan. Every bank is deploying the same technology. So in a competitive market, nobody gets to pocket the savings. It gets competed away into lower prices and better service. The most powerful cost-cutting tool in a generation, and the man running the biggest bank in America just told you it will not make him $1 richer per share than his rivals. Here is my read, and it is the whole point of today. AI is becoming table stakes, not a moat. It is like online banking in 2005. The bank that built it did not get to charge more for it, but the bank that did not build it lost its customers. The advantage is not in having AI, the advantage evaporates the moment your competitor has it too, which is roughly now. What is left is a new higher floor. The same work done with far fewer people at a price your customers will come to expect. You do not win by adopting AI. You lose by being the last one who did. Give Dimon real credit for saying that out loud, because it is not the story a CEO with a soaring stock is supposed to tell. Most executives are selling their board a moat. He told his shareholders the truth. This is a race to a new baseline, and the prize for winning it is that you get to keep competing. Now, the second half of the week, because the same earnings season made the opposite case just as loudly. The enablers, the firms selling the shovels, say the gold rush has barely started. Morgan Stanley's Ted Pick told investors the AI investment cycle is only 10 to 15% complete, and that data center spending will run about $850 billion this year, on its way to $1.5 trillion by 2028. Goldman Sachs posted record results on the back of it, with roughly $1 trillion of merger volume in the first half, much of it AI infrastructure. If you believe them, there are years of runway left, but the people lending them the money are getting nervous. IBM lost a quarter of its value, about $40 billion, in a single day this week on an earnings miss, and suddenly the phrase AI earnings bubble was everywhere. And Bank of America's monthly survey of global fund managers, the people who actually allocate the world's capital, just named AI spending the market's single biggest risk. 48% of them said runaway AI infrastructure spending is the most likely thing to trigger a credit crisis. 45% called an AI bubble the number one danger to markets, up from 28% just a month ago. The shovel sellers say the mine is 15% dug. The people financing it just named that same mine the likeliest cave-in. So hold both of those in your head, because that is the actual situation. AI is real and it is table stakes, and the spending propping it up is the most crowded, most nervous trade on Wall Street. Both things are true. Let me make it concrete. Picture a $180 million distribution company whose CEO has been waiting for AI to prove it delivers a clear competitive edge before committing real budget. That CEO has the logic exactly backwards. The banks just proved AI does not deliver a durable edge. The edge competes away. It delivers a new cost structure that everyone eventually has to match. Waiting for the moat is waiting for a thing that was never coming. Meanwhile, the competitor down the road is quietly resetting the floor, and the day that CEO notices is the day it is already too late to be a differentiator and merely expensive to catch up. So if I were sitting in your seat this quarter, I would do three things. First, stop hunting for the AI project that wins you the market, and start finding the functions where AI resets your cost to compete, and do it function by function the way JPMorgan did, not in one dramatic company-wide swing. Second, change your scorecard. Stop counting pilots. Count adoption. What percentage of the people who could be using these tools actually are every day? Citi's 90% is the number that matters, not how many proofs of concept are in flight. Third, invest into the capability, but do not bet the company on the capex cycle holding. The financiers just told you it is the market's biggest fragility. Build your AI on tools and terms you can adjust if the spending music slows. You want to be a tenant in this boom, not a hostage to it. We have spent this stretch on the megawatts, the state, the money, the deployment gap, the lawsuits. Today, the most credible witnesses possible, now the audited books of the biggest banks, settled the core question. AI works. It works at scale, and it makes everyone faster and no one richer, which is the precise definition of table stakes. The moat you are looking for is not AI. AI is the water in the moat now. Every castle has it. The only question left is whether yours is the castle that filled it late. That is the YPO Tech Network AI brief for Friday, July 17th. I am Stephen Forte. If this was useful, send it to a fellow member. I will be back Monday with more. Until then, stay sharp.